Herefordshire, the English county of unspoilt rolling countryside, with gentle hills, valleys and rivers. Little villages with their black and white houses, and historic churches, a number with detached towers. Market towns of distinctive character, with wide streets and timbered houses. Woods, orchards, hop yards. Winding lanes and well-trodden footpaths. Where we can, in the words of the Herefordshire poet Thomas Traherne, appreciate the world's fair beauty. Thomas Traherne is one of the great metaphysical poets of the 17th century, along with two others of Wales and the Welsh borders, George Herbert and Henry Vaughan. Thomas Traherne was born in 1636 or 37 in Hereford, close to All Saints' Church, where he was probably baptised. His father was a shoemaker and master craftsman, and his mother died when he was very young. And their house was simple and poor, and he remembers when he was just 4 years old maybe, living in a little obscure room in his father's house. As in the house I sat, alone and desolate, no creature but the fire and I, the chimney and the stool, I lift mine eye up to the wall, and in the silent hall saw nothing mine, but some few cups and dishes shine. The table and the wooden stools where people used to dine, a painted cloth there was, wherein some ancient story wrought, a little entertained my thought, which light discovered through the glass. Traherne and his brother were cared for by their uncle, an innkeeper and widely respected citizen of Hereford, who had been mayor of the city. Traherne was educated at the Cathedral School and Brasenose College, Oxford, and gained his B.A. in 1656. However, this did not satisfy Traherne. He wrote, "Having been at university and received there the taste and tincture of another education, I saw that there were things in this world of which I never dreamed, glorious secrets and glorious persons beyond imagination. We studied to inform our knowledge, but knew not for what end we so studied." Instead of taking the usual path of seeking occupation at court or in the civil service or in the law, Thomas Traherne moved back to Herefordshire, becoming rector of Credenhill, 5 miles outside Hereford, in 1657, though in fact he didn't become ordained until 1660. Credenhill today is a large village with a population of over 2,000. As well as being a commuter village for Hereford, it is also home to the headquarters for the 22 Special Air Service Regiment. However, in the 17th century, Credenhill was a very small parish with only a couple of dozen households, many in poverty and without a school. Traherne was diligent in visiting the sick and teaching the young. He read morning and evening prayer every day in the church of St. Mary, with its roof well covered with tile, the windows well glazed, and so decently ordered as becometh the house of God. It was here that Traherne did most of his writing. When I came into the country, and being seated among silent trees and meads and hills, had all my time in mine own hands, I resolved to spend it all, whatever it cost me, in search of happiness, and to satiate that burning thirst which nature had enkindled in me from my youth, in which I was so resolute that I chose rather to live upon £10 a year, and to go in leather clothes, and feed upon bread and water, so that I might have all my time clearly to myself, than to keep many thousands per annum in an estate of life where my time would be devoured in care and labour. And God was so pleased to accept of that desire that from that time to this I have had all things plentifully provided for me, without any care at all, my very study of felicity making me more to prosper than all the care in the whole world, so that through his blessing I live a free and a kingly life, as if the world was turned again into Eden, or much more, as it is at this day. While at Credenhill, Thomas Traherne maintained close connections with Hereford and its cathedral. For a time he was a surrogate at the Dean's Consistory Court at Hereford Cathedral. Traherne's father seemed to have moved out of poverty, for he bought property in Widemarsh Street, which after his death in 1669 passed to Thomas, and after his death were used as almshouses by the city of Hereford. They were demolished in the 1870s. While at Credenhill, Traherne joined the religious circle centred on Susanna Hopton of the town of Kington, about 14 miles from Credenhill. She was married to a barrister, Richard Hopton, one of the Welsh judges in the reigns of Charles II and James II. Susanna rose at 4 a.m. every morning for prayer, and she set aside 5 times during the day for worship. She kept all the fasts and festivals of the church's year, and was particularly kind to the clergy, especially those who were very poor. It is to Susanna that we owe the survival of Traherne's writings, particularly his centuries of meditations, his finest work, as he left the manuscript in her care. This was only discovered on a street bookstall in London in the winter of 1896-7, and not published until 1908. Through her husband's connections in high places, Susanna was able to find preferment for Traherne. He was appointed private chaplain to Sir Orlando Bridgeman, Lord Keeper of the Great Seal, in 1667, combined with the pastoral care of the parish of Teddington, near London. During his time at Teddington, Traherne edited his poems into one collection, but these were not published until 1903. Hereford Cathedral, built of local pink-grey sandstone. The nave with its great bays of massive, round Norman pillars. The 13th century Lady Chapel, and off it to the south Bishop Audley's Chapel, built before 1502. And in it stained glass designed and created by Tom Denny in 2007 to commemorate Thomas Traherne. These are full of images of nature, reflecting one of the main themes of Traherne's writing, how God has revealed his love in and through his creation. The world shall be a grand jewel of delight unto you, a very paradise and the gate of heaven. It is indeed the beautiful frontispiece of eternity, the temple of God, the palace of his children. We can imagine Traherne wandering through the Herefordshire lanes and fields through his poem, Walking. To walk abroad is, not with eyes, but thoughts, the fields to see and prize, else may the silent feet, like logs of wood, move up and down, and see no good, nor joy, nor glory meet. To walk is by a thought to go, to move in spirit to and fro, to mind the good we see, to taste the sweet, observing all the things we meet, how choice and rich they be. To note the beauty of the day, and golden fields of corn survey, admire the pretty flowers with their sweet smell, to celebrate their Maker and to tell the marks of his great powers. Fly abroad like active bees among the hedges and the trees, to cull the dew that lies on every blade from every blossom, till we laid our minds as they their thighs. Observe those rich and glorious things, the rivers, meadows, woods and springs, the fructifying sun, to note from far the rising of each twinkling star, for us his race to run. The countryside around Credenhill, and indeed the whole of Herefordshire, was for Traherne the mirror of eternity. And this sweet and curious apprehension, Traherne says, he knew as a child. Heaven and earth did sing my Creator's praises, and could not make more melody to Adam than to me. All time is eternity, and a perpetual Sabbath. Is it not strange that an infant should be heir of the world, and see those mysteries which the books of the learned never unfold? The corn was orient and immortal wheat, which never should be reaped, nor was ever sown. I thought it had stood from everlasting to everlasting. The green trees transported and ravished me. Their sweetness and unusual beauty made my heart to leap, and almost made with ecstasy, they were such strange and wonderful things. Eternity was manifest in the light of the day, and something infinite behind everything appeared, which talked with my expectation and moved my desire. And not just the countryside. Traherne's poem, The City. What structures here among God's works appear? Such wonders Adam ne'er did see in paradise among the trees. No works of art like these, nor walls, nor pinnacles, nor houses were. All these for me these streets and towers, these stately temples and these solid bowers, my father reared for me, I thought, they thus appeared. The city, filled with people, near me stood, a fabric like a court divine, of many mansions bright and fair, wherein I could repair to blessings that were common, great and good. Yet all did shine as burnished and as new, as if before none ever did them view. They seemed to me environed with eternity. Such treasures as are to be valued more than those shut up in chests and tills, which are by citizens esteemed, to me the people seemed. The city doth increase my glorious store, which sweetly fills with choice variety, the place wherein I see the same to be, and strangely is a mansion or tower of bliss. Nor can the city such a soul as mine confine, nor be my only treasure. I must see other things to be for my felicity. Concurrent instruments and all combine to do me pleasure. And God, to gratify this inclination, helps me to descry beyond the sky more wealth provided and more high. Thomas Traherne died in 1674 at the early age of 37 and was buried under the reading desk of St Mary's Church, Teddington, the church for which he had pastoral care, while Sir Orlando Bridgman's chaplain. In his poem Wonder, Traherne reflects on his life. How like an angel came he down to walk in the world in which God in all his glories was seen. Nothing in the world did Traherne know, but 'twas divine.